I see. Okay. Oh my god. Okay. Well, we do have Super Joy. You're dead. Yeah, that escalated pretty quickly.
Game menu. Save and quit. Save and player view.
Double tap left
1
to
of
right to start
13.
running. I like the chainsaw cursor.
Chat screen. Editing. Age.
It's pretty good.
Player view.
Like, it's interesting. Like,
1
if you
of
compare this to
13.
something like Mighty Final Fight.
Chat screen. Editing.
Essentially,
Space.
like, agility and speed
J.
isn't
U.
a factor, but
S.
recovery is.
T. Space. T. R. Y. Space.
It has like a little bit
Player
of that
view.
vibe.
1 of 13.
It's not mechanically super similar, but it's like the ways in which it is keeping / replicating aspects of like arcade beat 'em ups versus kind of where it doesn't, or where it goes a different route. Got a funny looking frame. Running punches, satisfying. I wonder if you want to save the dog, because it seems like limited. I'm getting beat up way more already.
Chat screen. Editing. Oh. Player view.
Did I
1
see
of
the new
13.
Monster action figure line? I'm assuming you're referring to Monster Force. Is that what it's called? The one that's like G.I. Joe, but with Universal monsters. Oh my god! I'm trying to dodge. I don't have a strong opinion. Like, they look well made. Oh, okay, it's a different thing. Monsters 90s. Okay. So it's like closer to something. It's so fucking hard to hit. Well, I just knocked it off screen.
12. Iron shovel. 9. White. 15. 105. Player
More of
view.
a-
1 of 13.
I'm dead. Street Sharks. I can vaguely envision what it is, but I'm not sure if I've actually seen it or if I'm just like
Iron
imagining the
64.
exact kind of
Player
thing.
view. 1 of
I
13.
think it would be. Like, it sounds extremely vaguely familiar. I think I have seen it, but not enough to really have an opinion on it. Not offhand, anyway. That is Street Sharks, Extreme Dinosaurs, Turtles, and Motu as influences. Yeah, because I can kind of picture... I think it's the kind of thing where I would be...
Stone pickaxe.
I would
Player
be super
view.
invested in it, like it's...
1 of 13.
It's gonna be... sort of based on or inspired by things I'm not... super kind of emotionally attached to, you know? But it's kind of like the Super 7 Ultimate stuff, where they release a lot of things that, granted, they seem like maybe a bit overpriced for their quality and QC and everything, but they are clearly, like, they're going really hard on grabbing any and every license they... Oh, I see, you can't jump. My health is already gone. That's like made to appeal to people in my age bracket. So all they would have to do is kind of happen to do something with the license that happens to be something I love, and I'd be super into it. It just so happens that they haven't really done that so far. Okay, Campanelle's about to explode. Alright, watch. Okay, so we got $11 for our trouble. That's how that works. Oh, the range on that thing is pretty harsh. Like, the Street Shark reissues look really good. Nacelle has been putting out these Biker Mice from Mars figures that actually look pretty good. They did like Sectors last year, I think. And I think they're also doing Cowboys of Moo Mesa. And I think they might also be the guys who are bringing back Toxic Crusaders. And there's definitely kind of this movement happening right now with more of those specifically
RPG skills add-on. 992 player view.
I think Playmates
Guide,
just
change
put
like
out or announced or whatever their like TMNT
skills,
87 remastered figures, which are basically their take on Motu Origins. Which I think is a, you know, it's a no-brainer. Motu Origins, oh, you can kick back the bottles. Okay, that's good to know. I kind of fell off collecting Motu Origins because they basically made every standard release that isn't like a reissue cartoon collection or whatever
skills
exclusive to Mattel Creations, which is their
back button
store, which is
2 of
essentially
3
inaccessible outside America or
close
maybe in the
close
UK, but
1 of 3
here in Sweden I can't buy the figures. So basically they just,
skills
for all intents
button
and purposes, they kind of just killed the line like that, so I kind of lost interest
farming
keeping up
lumber
with it.
mining.
But it's an awesome line. Like the figures are great. They have like tremendous sort of play
Back.
value. And the Motu
Farming, lumberjack,
Turtles of Grayskull
fighting,
TMNT crossover figures are amazing. Like they're so fun and cool and imaginative and just they're just super cool. So it doesn't surprise me to see things like Street Sharks and TMNT
Mount
kind of take that basic idea where it's like we keep the designs, we keep the look and feel fully authentic, kind of warts and all,
back.
but we
Mount
add a bit more articulation.
close
We add
player
some
view
modern touches.
1 of 13
Like with the Motu figures, you have the interchangeable body parts and everything that is a really fun and
chat
simple
screen
feature.
editing
It's a
age
little different now, of course, but
M.
when the line started a couple of years
M.
ago, they were also extremely
comma
affordable. Like it launched
space
at like $15 a
I
figure. It's closer to
N
20 now, but
T
um,
E R
they're great
E
toys. I like them a lot. So
S
it's cool to see other
T
companies doing similar things
I
with old toy lines.
player view
But
1 of 13
sort of parallel with that, there's also been, I think, a rising interest in kind of 90s style figures. And I reckon that's where the Monsters thing kind of aligns.
20 32 of player view
I've been on record many times saying
amethyst
that, like, although I like
35
modern
player
action
view
figures, I like the
2 iron ingot
articulation
3 of
and quality and whatever
95
else. I do
53 of 90
begrudgingly
player
collect Marvel Legends.
30 cobbled 6
But one
7
thing that
Flint
I really lament
2
is that at least
9
as far as
64
American
7 2
action figures go,
crap 27
I'm
RPG
mostly into sort of superhero type stuff.
80 amethyst
But a lot of the times, like the general
iron
aesthetic
80
of using Marvel Legends as an example,
player view 1 of
they-
13
the characters aren't built like
Chat
superheroes.
screen.
They have like
editing
not even like
I
too realistic proportions.
space
They just look kind of like
H
doughy,
A V
you know, uncles in cosplay or whatever. Like
player
even if they
view
have, like super defined
1 of
muscles,
13
like, just they don't have heroic proportions and silhouettes. And if you compare it to like Kenner and Toy Biz figures from the 90s, like the Kenner Batman figures from the 90s, the Toy Biz like X-Men and Marvel figures from the 90s, even early McFarlane stuff from the late 90s, they had that like 90s comic book aesthetic to them. Like they were not only very heroically proportioned and built, but because they typically had much less articulation, they were also sculpted in much more dynamic poses and just had this like awesome look to them. And it's really frustrating to me
27 11
seemingly
96 player view
with basically
1
the
of 13
exception of the amazing Yamaguchi Revoltech figures coming out of Japan, like no one is even trying to make superhero action figures look like comic book superhero drawings. Mayfex, they're a little hit and miss. They do a better job than Marvel Legends, that's for sure. But I'm like sort of biding my time waiting for that like Kenner
9
Toy Biz 90s
10
aesthetic to
9
make a comeback.
paper
And
9
it's encouraging and promising.
empty
when you see
map
things like
empty
Toxic
locator
Crusaders
map
or Monsters or
empty
whatever
map
else
empty
that's, like,
locator
pushing
3
in that direction.
empty
Um,
empty locator map
like
player
Hasbro's
view
been putting out
1 of
alongside,
13
the Star Wars line has like the Black Series 6-inch figures, which are they're basically movie inspired for the most part, so they're trying to be realistic. But they have this sort of vintage line, which is the 3/4 inch sort of old school Kenner style Star Wars figures. And similarly for Marvel stuff, they have the 4-inch Marvel figures that are these like 5 POA. I don't think they're harkening back to any particular old Marvel figures. They're just like, hey, it's an old type action figure. And there's a lot of that. Like Super 7 does that too with Reaction. And I'm sure you've seen like these novelty, like Albert Einstein action figure or whatever. When we looked at the Comic-Con stuff, we saw there was, Syndicate Collectibles, I think they're called, Jerry Macalusso's new company. They're putting out these Golden Girl figures and what else? True Romance, I think, like some movie type stuff. Like there's a novelty like 80s style old action figure type figures, even if they're not based on a particular toy line. You've even seen other people put out like Motu style figures as well with the 5 POA and everything. So there's been a long ongoing trend of different companies putting up that style of figure. So I'm kind of waiting for the trend to develop and evolve to the point where people are putting out 90s style figures, whether or not they're based on an actual 90s toy line.
Guidebook, player view.
Doing something original.
1 of 13.
And incorporating that aesthetic. Because honestly, even if they were like 5-inch scale with the same articulation,
player view,
just going back to that
1 of 13.
And like dynamism to the look of them, I could easily get on board with like starting to collect new toys that are like completely in that style. But the ideal, what I would really want, is for a line like Marvel Legends or something similar, like a 6-inch or 7-inch line, to just adopt that general aesthetic and like start making superhero action figures that look like
300
comic book artwork again.
Coal stick.
Anyway, thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Coal stick, 12 of 100. 160 of 100. Player view.
We'll do this
one of 13.
We'll do a quick run with Amy.
Chat screen. Editing.
So her throw had a
apostrophe
giant stat.
M.
Here's what that
G.
means exactly.
Space. Player view. 1 of 13.
I don't know if that's range or speed or damage. Awesome TV, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Okay, big Z-axis range there. Oh, big recover frames for that matter. Okay, jumping is like faster than walking. Weapon attacks definitely quite slow. Oh, okay. I could throw him, but that's alright. Oh! Oh, ooh, okay, I avoided that somehow. Giant recovery on that running attack is pretty scary.
One figure that caught my attention later when I cared about good-looking figures was the October 98 figure.
Sugar 30. Player view. 1 of 13.
Oh my god, hitting by the pipe. Thank you very much. Whoa! You can do dash attacks diagonally, I'm learning. It's kind of difficult, if not impossible, to actually Super Joy out of hit stun. I'm doing significantly better. Big wad of cash. Why can I not pick up this money? So jump will throw Okay, you got a pretty generous hitbox on that at least. The jump attack will throw the weapon, just in general. Okay. Oh my god, the recovery is gigantic. Oh shit, I didn't think I would get hit by that. Oh, fuck off. Alright. Oh shit. Okay. The mechanics are extremely interesting in this. There's a lot of very committal stuff. You want to like chase him, but you gotta be careful not to go after when he's on the ground. Interesting to see how toys have changed, even if a lot of the market that I'm paying attention to is about pushing nostalgia. Yeah, I mean that's not really just toys though, is it? It's just the 21st century.
Chat screen. Editing.
Okay.
I. Space.
That's right. You have
W.
the cover roll.
A. N. T. Space. T. O. Space. M. I want to M. I want to. D. O.
Didn't jump
Player
far
view.
enough.
1 of 13.
Ah! Actor frames, not enough. One figure that caught my attention later when you cared about good-looking figures, the
Chat screen.
Duke Nukem. Yeah,
Editing.
Resource did some cool stuff.
O. A. Player view. 1 of 13.
They did the Street Fighter figures also from the late 90s, early 2000s. And I believe that was a Jerry Macaluso joint as well, actually. But they fit right into that. Like, I don't know that toy line like super specifically, but I know what the Duke figures look like. I wonder if the Quake toy line was also Resource. It might have been. I was doing a bunch of research on this around the new year because I wanted to. I was pretty inspired. I'd watched some like action figure YouTubers doing some like best of 2023 and like wish list type things. And it gave me the idea, like, ooh, I want to do like a stream where I talk about
64.
some of my, like, toy
4,
lines that I wish
56 of
existed.
player view. 1 of 13.
And I was just kind of pontificating on licenses and stuff that I think would be cool. And Quake came up, and so for all this stuff, I did some research on like previous toys that existed. And I don't think I was really aware of that line, but it came up when I looked it up, and I think it had 1 or 2 waves, and there was one more planned that was canceled. They showed prototypes, and it was like a mixture of characters from Quake 2 and Quake 3. But it all fits right into there because you had a lot of these like pretty elaborate, like the lines were a bit more blurred, I guess, because you have like once Marvel Legends took off. And previous to that, you had like Spider-Man classics and like those like hyper-articulated figures. There was a very clear divide between the McFarlane style, sort of vaguely posable statue, and the Marvel Legends style, like fully superposable action figure. But in the 90s, especially the late 90s, that line was not nearly as distinct because you had companies like McFarlane and Resource, I would argue, that definitely focused more on the like super detailed sculpts and more elaborate paint apps. And Toy Biz did a lot with paint for sure in early Marvel Legends and stuff. Well, throughout their tenure with the Marvel Legends, because Hasbro took over that in like 2006, 2007. But because the Kenner and Toy Biz figures of the 90s were also not really that posable, and they had these dynamic sculpts. Like stylistically, the design of a figure between the Resource or McFarlane or I don't know when NECA got started, but they're another kind of modern
chat screen
descendant, I guess, of that
editing
sort of style. It wasn't really that
S
different from the superhero
O
toys that Kenner and
comma
Toy Biz were making.
Space.
But
Player view.
It was a little bit of an arms race
1 of 13
of like elaborate design and cool shit. But even like Kenner did some really cool stuff with their Batman figures in the 90s. I remember a lot of those. Like I'm pretty nostalgic for. I didn't collect or own toys really at the time, but and it's really not so much about being nostalgic for loving those toys back then. It's just that like getting into, because I started collecting toys more in the early 2000s, and it's been a very off and on thing. Like I've always liked toys and figures, but throughout the late 90s, I wasn't really old enough to have money, but I was old enough to be to care about what people think. And if you're like, I don't know, let's say in your teens, you might be a little apprehensive about collecting toys, or buying toys in general. I don't think it really was. I don't think that was a huge factor,
50,
but
43,
you know, it probably didn't help.
6, player view,
Um,
1 of 13.
But so I don't have this strong nostalgic connection to those figures in particular, but now that I'm currently into figures and I'm more than ever completely unabashed about my tastes and preferences, I can look back to those things and say, man, that is so cool. I love that aesthetic and vibe. And I can kind of miss that. Not miss in the sense that I'm longing for that time in my memories, but I miss that now because we don't really get it. So there's definitely a lot of cool stuff. I was graciously gifted the Sonya Blade figure from the Infinite Concepts Mortal Kombat toy line by a friend of the channel, Sampler Info, for my, I think it was a birthday, either birthday or Christmas a few years ago. And I have that mint
Chat
on
screen.
art.
Editing.
And that toy line is also insane, because that did have
Player
for the
view.
time, like,
1 of
pretty
13.
impressive articulation, but also these like extremely exaggerated like
Chat screen.
muscular sculpts.
Editing.
I wouldn't say that aesthetically they're my favorite, but I do think they're
Space.
really cool and they're much more
F.
interesting than a lot of toys that we get
O.
nowadays.
U. Player view, 1 of
Or someone
13.
fell down a Transformers rabbit hole. Yeah, that's a whole. I don't know anything about Transformers, and I'm happy to keep it that way. There's some cool looking toys for sure, but like that seems to be its own vast jungle, swamp, ocean, whatever you want to call it. A series of interconnected rabbit holes that form a gigantic underground network. They're cool, but I'm happy to leave that for the Transformers nerds. Anyway, time flies, and I think we ought to get some presents opened. So we can hop on over here. We can get some jams going in the background. Why not? And let me check the list here. 3. I should take a note. I guess I can just open the spreadsheet on my phone. I don't have to write it down. Would even do this? Go to my drive. I need to go over to my present pile and pick out the presents that we're about to open. All right, so 3, 18, 24, 25, 36. All right, let me set aside my arcade stick so I have some room here. As you can probably see, I don't have my alternate unboxing camera set up or anything because it's way too, it just gets in the way if we're going back and forth and doing this. So I'll just be holding stuff up to the camera and hope that will work out well enough. So enjoy some Hybrid Front, James. I'll be back very shortly with some presents.
50, 40, 64, player view, 1 of 13. $61, 58, 56, player view, 1 of 13. Chat screen. Editing. O. K. A. Y. Oka. OK. A. L. R. I. G. H. T. Comma. Space. I. Space. H. A. V. E. Space. T. O. Space. G. O. Space. N. O. W. Period. Space. H. A. V. E. Space. Player view. 1 of 13. Game menu. Save. Load. Main menu.
Man, you guys
Play. Button. 1 of 6.
You went for the big ones right
Play
away,
screen.
huh?
Worlds
That's all right,
done.
we got plenty more to come.
World stabbed.
Exciting
Press the
packages
left
coming